There's Jeremy.
There's Robert Mason.
Where are you at, Jeremy?
Hello, I'm in Sulphur.
You're in Sulphur, okay.
I
And
am.
there's
Looks like we have Gordon Husk and John Flanigan joining.
Just got off the other Zoom with the Flanigan people.
I thought I recognized that name, Flanigan.
where's Gordon?
Well, can you hear us, Gordon? We can't hear you or see you. Gordon emailed me earlier saying he was having trouble with his Wi-Fi and he was going to try to connect and maybe from his phone, maybe with his data. But he was asking if there was a phone number he could call in on just for audio because he's done that with some Shriners meetings. But that we're on a free Zoom account. When Zoom first came out, or when we first started using Zoom during the pandemic, the meetings, you could have a meeting as long as you wanted, and there were phone numbers where you could call in. Well, now we're on a free account, and that's why we only have 40 minutes each week, and they took away the phone numbers to call in. So Gordon's connected, but we can't see or hear him. I don't know if he can see or hear us. I don't know if any of you guys noticed or thought about, but when I sent the reminder, which is I think was just yesterday, the email reminder about this meeting, I said, "Well, it's Mother's Day, and it was 5 years ago on Father's Day, so we're just shy of 5 years when we started doing this. Our first uh, Zoom that we all did together was Father's Day of 2020. So I said, well, this one happens to fall on Mother's Day, and maybe there's some memories of your own mothers or mothers of your friends, folks who either are still participating in this Zoom or maybe who have left this world already, but who used to participate on this Zoom. I kind of thought I'd throw that out there as an idea if anyone wanted to kind of share any stories about your mothers or your friends' mothers. Um, Earlier today, Donnie Sanford, uh, separate visits, but two of his daughters and one of his granddaughters with her mom came here to Sulphur to visit with Carol. So it was nice to see them. Oh, it looks like Tim Eade and Victor Megenity are on. I see Tim but can't hear Tim.
Are
There.
you
Now we hear
okay? Can
you.
you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you
Okay,
now.
and that's Vic Megenity.
Yes, sir.
We don't see you, Vic, but we hear you now.
Well, I can see you, Jeremy, right now. Can you see me?
No, I could hear you.
Well, I'll be darned.
Uh, oh, wait, here. Ask to start video. Let's see. Did that pop something up on your screen that you can click on?
Yeah.
Apparently,
There's
my
no
granddad Mike. Oh, yeah, we see you now, Vic.
Okay, great.
Tim.
Hey, John.
Hello, John.
Howdy do.
Oh, and Melvin Beasley. Hey, so I'm
You got
gonna.
a crowd today.
Yeah, really. Apparently, my granddad isn't joining today. Um,
Did
I'm
he
gonna.
join you earlier or not?
Well, Uncle John can speak to that. I guess he was
Who are you asking about?
your much younger brother Mike.
Oh, yes, he was on, but he was pretty tired. So I'm not surprised that he wasn't here.
Yeah, well, Mel, I this past week I was at the Historical Society's building in English, and there's a jacket there. Let me see what this says. Vocational agriculture, and it is embroidered with James, is it L. Beasley?
My middle initial was M.
Well, but was this your? This is James Beasley.
I can't. I have no explanation for that. It might be a different person.
Really? I mean, you can't think of a relative?
No, no.
How
I had.
about, how about
I
that?
can't explain it.
There's Bob.
This is definitely not an M. I can tell you that.
What did it say? James. James.
L.
Huh.
Yeah.
What year is on the jacket? Do you know?
Well, there's no year that I can see. It's kind of a royal blue corduroy. If you know what year that would have been in fashion.
Yeah.
But
What was it again? A vocational
well,
something?
yeah, and for some reason I can't see that side of the jacket now. I'll work on it. I'll pull it up on the screen and see if
FAA had jackets back.
yeah.
Okay. And that would have been in the 60s, I know. And you're talking a Beasley there. There was a Beasley family, Wadeen Beasley, Dale Beasley, Raymond Beasley, and they lived just down the road from from, oh, my mind's going, Mel Beasley's dad.
Bill.
You remember that?
Yeah,
Bill
there
Beasley.
were still the Beasley family there when I was a boy.
Yes. Okay.
Tim, what did FAA stand for? Because I can't, for some reason I can't see that side of the jacket. But
FFA, wasn't it? Future Farmers of America?
Futures Farmers. Okay.
FFA, yeah, it said agriculture something or another, so that must be it.
Right. It had usually a yellow emblem when we were young.
Yeah.
So they still use it here.
Future farmers.
They do. Yeah. So how is everyone? You just said Bob came on. Is he? I haven't been able to change the view yet.
We haven't given Bob a chance to talk yet.
Do you think if we do, he'll talk?
I'm just listening.
Look at that one. Look at that grin.
Oh, just ask Bob Roberts to talk, and that's all it takes.
Well, I tell you that when you get to be the oldest guy in town, they have a lot of things come up. People come up and want to know about a house that had washed off the foundation in the big flood we had. And the lady up at the library said, I'd like to you to come in so I could interview you on your family. And said then the next week we'll interview you on Crawford County. So I've already gone through the one deal for the family and things, and I had a pretty good deal with him. We got, 10 brothers and sisters. You can say something about all and things that. And Jeremy, we have a meeting Tuesday night.
No, this month, and I'm glad you mentioned it. This month there is no meeting because on Tuesday and Thursday, the 3 Crawford County Elementary School 4th grade students are going to come for a field trip to the Proctor House in Marengo. So South Crawford, which is Leavenworth, is coming on Tuesday morning, and Patoka, which is West Crawford, and and Marengo, which is East Crawford, sorry, Milltown, East Crawford, they're coming on Thursday. So there's not going to be a monthly meeting on Tuesday. Too much going on.
So I
Okay.
guess they're making use of the guides and everything.
The guides.
Well, the thing is, I don't that you took what you call the Proctor House. It's not open during the winter, is it?
The
And of
William
course,
Proctor House.
schools get-
Well, it's always open by appointment, but
Oh, gotcha.
but there are during the I guess non-winter it's open typically on I think on Saturdays, but I don't know if you exactly say that there are guides. It's generally the vice president of the society who is there in case anybody comes by. But it's not very, I think, heavily toured. Maybe Victor Megenity has some ideas about how to improve that, because I think what they do uptown seems to work. But anyway, so this is so my grandmother Carol, she's a retired school teacher, and she's really the main one. I mean, there are several people, of course, involved in this, but she's kind of been the main person heading up this endeavor, and she did advanced visits to each of the 3 schools to introduce the kids and try to get them excited, and they were all really successful, really successful visits. But the upshot is that basically none of the kids had heard of the Proctor House, let alone been there. None of them had heard of the Historical Society, although South Crawford had 2 members of the Historical Society visit their 4th grade class every month last semester, the fall semester. Yet no one raised their hand when she asked them if they had ever heard of the Historical Society. But it also sounds like none of the teachers or principals had been to the Proctor House either. So there are going to be a lot of people. There are about 91 students, 91 4th graders in the county. And then, teachers and principals who, as far as we can tell, have never been through the Proctor House. So this will be a good exposure for everybody.
Jeremy, our Floyd County Historical Society is in an 1837 federal style building that looks almost exactly like the Proctor House. And I think the Proctor House was built in that same era.
Yeah, I think it's 1835. I think 1835.
Yeah, and we're also finishing another successful year this week. Wednesday and Thursday, graders attend Division Street School, and they don't come on a field trip. They spend the whole day there going through a curriculum with teachers much like that used 100 and more years ago, and it's one of our jewels. However, we have the school corporation owns it, and at our last meeting, we found out that the lady that was the school corporation's liaison, she was called the diversity person.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
She's automatically fired.
Sounds like it.
Word.
There go the federal grants.
They pulled her out, put her in another position, and we just found out the superintendent of schools is coming to our next meeting. Now, we're very alarmed about that. We're afraid he's going to bring bad news that we might have to shut down our little 1884 wooden schoolhouse because of that. But we're trying to be optimistic, but it's a problem.
So Vic, did you say that the Floyd County School Corporation is who owns the Division Street School?
That's right. They've always owned it since it was
Okay.
built in 1884. They were getting ready to tear it down 25 years ago. It was right in the clutches of being torn down, but a group of us got together and said, "Hey, wait a minute." Nobody knew how old it was or anything like that. It was just an old building. But finally, we were able to get it saved, and it's on the National Register and so forth. But anyway,
Another thing too is, Vic, you've got to realize that there may be safety concerns, and that's the only way they could go on ahead and make sure that none of the, that they just don't have the ability to have people in there. And so they may have to shut it down for a little bit before they can go on. And I know there's a lot of places that are not being funded at the moment. And so, it may be temporary, but yet I think you're going to find it will continue later.
Hope so. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Well, that's what's happening here, because just like Jeremy just said, you talk to these kids about history, and they literally, grandparents aren't, there's so much movement. I mean, our school here in our little town, there's 400 students, but they come from everywhere, and they're just passing through is what they're doing. They haven't seen anything beyond. A lot of them haven't even seen anything beyond the little town we live in. But so at fourth grade, and that's where we used to do that. We used to take our kids to the state capitol, because that's right down the road, and also to the Space Museum because of Chris McAuliffe. I mean, and we would have all kinds of chaperones. You couldn't believe it.
Are you,
So,
Tim? You're that near Concord?
oh, I'm between the coast and Concord. Yes.
Okay. I hadn't realized you were that close.
Oh yeah, yeah. And of course, Vic mentions Portsmouth a lot, and I'm about halfway in between. I'm out in the middle of the boonies.
You're not in the White Mountains.
Yes, foothills.
You're in the foot. Got it.
Okay, if you're familiar with any of the area.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, yeah.
But Vic, I was waiting till after these Proctor House visits to see if I could get Carol to come with me to Division Street School, because I've never been. So that's why I haven't organized it with you yet. But I mean, I imagine in order for it to get on the National Registry, which the Proctor House is as well, it's the only structure in Crawford County on the registry. There is a well, it's not a cave. It's but it's a natural rock formation that's kind of toward West Fork. That's also on the registry. But at the moment, the Proctor House is the only structure that's in Crawford County that's on the National Registry. But at least for the Proctor House, all of the grants that were received to restore it, it had to be done. I mean, it doesn't bring it up to Tim's point. It's not ADA accessible, but it's certainly deemed to be suitable for folks to visit, and the school corporation, of course, does well. We hope. We asked about it, but we haven't asked to see them, permission slips, and I think the society should have their own permission slips with disclaimers and whatnot. But that's over the top, I think, for Crawford.
Well, here the schools had to provide that.
Yeah.
All the permission, health information, we had to have it signed, sealed, and delivered every day. So, and Jeremy, can I ask a question? Oh, Bob.
Yeah, as you're talking about New Albany School and everything, that I ran across my diploma from English Common School. That was 1941, and Guido Hammond was president of the board, and Shelby Adams was county superintendent. Clell Longus was a teacher, and Steve Cunningham was on the board, and Charlie Temple and Larman Longus. Do any of those names sound familiar to you? And I don't know whether you could see it or not, but tell me when I get.
Oh my, that's
pull,
neat.
Pull it back towards you, Bob.
And pull a little higher.
And up, yeah. Keep going a little higher and a little farther back. And here, let me pin this so everyone pin. Yeah. Oh, did I pin myself?
I saw that and everything and stuff, and then I ran across the high school deal. It was a little smaller.
Wait a minute, hold on. Spotlight, that's what I want. Okay, pull it.
Oh my goodness.
Pull it. Okay, right there. Pull it back a little bit towards you.
Lyndon Elmo. Okay.
Okay.
Which Beasley is on there?
And the guys on there was Forrest Miller, Howard Easter, Kenneth Patton, Willard Bradshaw, S.A. Bills, and Idina Hodgson. Do you remember any of them?
Oh, yeah.
That,
Used to carry
I
ashes.
didn't know you were going to be talking about schools, but I thought, well, I'd bring it up and read those names off to you. Their names you probably remembered.
Well, Bob, I don't know if you heard us earlier. Do you know who a James L. Beasley would have been?
Pardon?
James L. Beasley. Do you know who that would have been?
What, Beasley?
James L. Middle initial L. Doesn't ring any bells? Who was part of the Future Farmers of America?
I think we're talking about Raymond Beasley, that family, and Dale Beasley and all those people. I think there was Jens Beasley there, but that would be more my age. And we're young.
Arthur Beasley just died.
Yes.
About last week.
Yes.
He was part of George Beasley's family.
Right. Okay. I heard about that. Jim Freeze passed that on. So, and George Novak passed away too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anybody have anything about the mothers? Happy Mother's Day, guys.
Yeah. I have a little puzzle I'm trying to work on, and I want to talk to some of the older people in the group. Oh, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. There's nobody older than us, Vic.
How old are you, Vic?
Oh, that's true. Okay, here's the problem. One of my ex-students is Dr. Bickers. He practices out in Floyd Knobs. He emailed me the other day. His name is Bickers, Dr. Bickers, Rex Bickers. He said, there's a person from Crawford County that's very famous. Do you know who it is? And I said, no, who is it? He said, it's Frederick Termain, T-E-R-M-A-N. Now, Bob, he was born in English in 1900, but his father, Lee Terman, T-E-R-M-A-N, moved to Palo Alto, California in 1909. And Frederick grew up to start Silicon Valley. And this Dr. Bicker said, well, he's probably the most famous person from Crawford County that you've never heard of. Have any of you heard the last name Terman, Terman?
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it, huh?
Where did
Okay,
you
well,
go
live
back
in,
to that
where did you
historical
live in
society.
Crawford County?
If
Where
you go
did you
back to the
live in
historical
Crawford
society,
County?
there are articles about him.
really?
That is true. Yep. Like you say, that was a few years ago too. And I was gone when I heard about that.
Oh,
I never followed up. But I think your mother did, Vic.
well,
She
and
and Mark.
he also became a professor, and two of his students that he had at the same time were Hewlett and Packard that started HP.
Well, so I was going to ask. He started Silicon Valley, and I wanted to know, well, what was Silicon Valley at that time? When did he start? So
It was called the Palo Alto Research Park, and he
uh,
owned 400 acres. That was his personal property that he bought. It was kind of scrub land,
Right.
and it turned into that park, and then it eventually turned into Silicon Valley.
wow.
But yes, there are definite histories with that. And so, that, thank you for bringing that up.
Well, I'm still trying to find out. First of all, why did his dad, Lee Terman, move to English? What kind of work did he do there until 1909? And some of the old timers could have probably remember him because we knew almost everyone in English. It's a bit of a puzzle. What kind of work did his dad do in English, Indiana?
Well, he came from Indiana University, did I think, so I recall.
Could be.
Yep.
Could.
And I don't think he worked he lived in Crawford County, but he didn't work there.
Okay, that's like a lot of people.
That's true. And like I say, but at the time, nobody would have ever thought that facility out there would grow like it is. And I don't know, Bill Beasley knew that sort of stuff. And, but to go on ahead, I mean, you had to have an interest in it, but he could tell you. He could tell you. So.
What was the first name of Terman?
Terman. Frederick.
Frederick. Okay.
Frederick Lee.
I looked in Crawford County that Pleasant had written, and his name there's no Tremaines mentioned in it.
None.
Nope.
Huh.
When did Pleasant read? When did Pleasant write that
published
book?
in what, like in the 19 teens or something? Was that when Pleasant published?
He was born in 1900 and they moved away in 1909.
This is a question for Nick Roberts.
Well, this
Eb Roberts.
This book was published in 1926.
26.
They probably already.
He had most of the county, but evidently he wasn't known in Crawford County, and he left quite a ways that Pleasant had all of the old doctors and lawyers and the farmers that was successful and everything mentioned in it, and the people, the politicians and things. But he wasn't mentioned in it. He became famous. It wasn't from being Crawford County, it's where he moved to.
That's correct.
Became famous later on.
That's correct.
Posthumously. Well, so this isn't specific to Crawford County, but does anybody know anything about Daniel Boone in southern Indiana?
Squire Boone Caverns, huh? Milltown. Quite a history over there.
and I've never been to Squire Boone or to Indiana Caverns, but it was that I'm trying to think. Robert Mason and I forget if it was Mel, but that video of the Historical Society's presenter, was that just last month? Who talked about
Yes.
the Harrison Crawford forest and that kind of area, largely Harrison County, but she mentioned Daniel Boone, and so I looked into it because I'd never heard anything about that, but yeah.
Also, the Lincolns had people that came up from down in Kentucky and settled in that area too.
Well, we had a guy died just recently, and Dale Rowe. He was on the fire department, and he worked at the funeral home, and he could fix about anything that was broken. He was a politician for a while, and he had a heart attack and died. And,
Yeah, and he was young.
he helped me with, mow the Kazart Cemetery over. I've been mowing it for about 50 years. And he finally said, I was wondering who's taking care of that. And I said, well, I have been since 1975. And I said, he said, we've got some kids buried out there. And I said, well, I will hope you would help me, Dale. So he had a couple growing boys and everything. And the last few years, he's been, he passed away. And I checked it out the other day, and there's a tree that's about 18 inches long. It's fell through there. It didn't get any tombstones, but there's a couple of guys buried in there. Buried in there was in the war of 18 and 12. So there's about 7 veterans. I'm going to have to find somebody to help me. I'll probably talk to his son and see if he can come out there. But we always mowed it off and cleaned it up before Memorial Day.
Which cemetery is that?
Kazart Cemetery. It's going out Brownstown. It's just before you get to the county line of Orange County. There's a road that cuts to your right. It's back in there about a quarter of a mile.
Well, so this was in a recent Clarion 75 years ago, which would make it 1950. It's got English high school graduates. I could read through all of this, but the names some I've heard of, but John M. Flanigan,
Lee Parks.
Douglas
Lee
Megenity,
Yeah.
Lee Parks.
Lee Parks,
Yeah.
Donald Staniford.
Yep.
Any other names?
Doug McGinnity,
Yeah.
Bill
Myrtle Baker, I think, graduated that year.
There's Myrtle Baker,
Yeah.
William Allen,
Bonnie
Donald
King.
Bennett, Carl Brown, Robert Brown, Wilma Brown, Franklin Cruz,
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Sari Enlow, Robert Hammond, Treva Johnson, Bonnie King, Everett May, Doyle Mason, Billy Miller, Maxine Miller, Paul Mills, Ruby Moore. Did someone say Mabel Newton? Mary Ruth Smith, Eileen Treadway, and Claire Walton.
Well, yep. Yep.
Yeah, there's a few of them still living and stuff. That
I think there's me. Who else is still living?
yeah.
Lee Parks is still living.
Lee is. That's right.
Oh, he is. Good.
Franklin Cruz, he's still living.
I called Lee last week or 2 weeks ago just to say hi, and I spoke to him for a while.
Oh, good.
Neat.
Now, is Lee still down Corden area?
Yeah, as far as I know. Lowell's still living too,
Yeah.
his brother.
Lowell Parks?
Yes.
Ah, longevity there.
I have one person that's still living that was in my class. She was Cunningham, and she married Gordon's brother. I played basketball with him and stuff. That
Was she related to Gene Cunningham?
Cunningham is Georgia Lee Cunningham's sister. That
Is that a relation to
Velma
Gene Cunningham? Gene Cunningham.
Gene Cunningham was her younger brother. He was a baby in that family, I think.
Did you know him, Vic? I think he was part of the group. I think he was in the Naval Reserves, and
Yes, I knew Gene. I haven't, when we graduated, he graduated 1 year behind me, I believe, 53. And I haven't seen him since the early 50s. He moved to Cincinnati and I lost track of him.
And, you know, he used to go out, he was at school, he'd go out and kill a deer and be back in time to go to school.
That's right.
He was always coming up to something, and he started fishing down in Little Blue River down below Grantsburg. And he was finished, he was fixing to catch a muskie. And
Yep.
he caught a muskie. And Bill Boss was running the thing, and he had it mounted and put it in the window. And I think he gave him so much money on that deal.
Jeremy, next time you want to go to that little school, and also over in Jeffersonville, we got the oldest fire engine in America. Anytime you guys want to come up, let me know, and we can go see the 1756 fire engine that still works.
that's right. That still works. That's
Still works.
That's
Yep,
the kicker. Well,
maybe
maybe I'll see if Bob Roberts wants to ride with us if we go uptown and go to well, Bob, you've been to the fire museum, haven't you? Bob Roberts.
No,
Bob
has.
I'm having problems understanding. I can understand Vic real well. Repeat that, Vic.
Jeremy wanted to know if you'd been to the fire museum in Jeffersonville, and I said no, I don't think he has been.
No, I haven't.
Oh, well then you don't have a choice in the matter. We'll definitely we'll definitely take you uptown. Carol and I will take you uptown. She and I have been to the museum, and
Yeah,
I know she's been to Division
I got
Street.
presented the 75-year button on that couple 2 or 3 weeks ago, but they're still about 2 years behind on it.
Just 1 minute to go. I'll say goodbye to everybody.
48.
Are you
One
guys
minute,
gonna
you're
pump the
keeping
antique fire engine?
Okay, guys.
Okay.
Take
All right,
care.
everyone.
Happy Mother's Day, and I'll sign off too. You all take care. Be safe.
All right.
Okay, bye. Good night.
Great
Good
to
to
see you
talk to
all. Bye-bye.
I saw Garden's name come on there a while ago, but he never did get on.
No, and he emailed me earlier saying he was having trouble with his internet connection. So anyhow, he can watch. I made sure that this one was recorded all the way through, so he can watch it on the Historical Society's website. I'll make sure he knows once they posted it. But no meeting this Tuesday.
Okay.
All right.
I haven't heard from you or anything. That you're still awake, aren't you? Bobby Mason.
Yeah,
Are you still awake?
yeah.
I haven't heard from you.
Well, it's about to cut us off, so just say
Okay.
goodbye.
Bye.
Adios.
Bye, guys.
I don't know whether you can see that picture or not.